Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Welcome to this next and last workshop as part of NFT Vision Hack. I would like to welcome you all. We'll probably start in 2 to 3 minutes. And while people are still joining. So you can see that we have a lot of interested participants again today. So why don't you all let us know where you're calling us from today? We're always really interested to see where our participants are joining from. We got Gaurang from London. Yes, Gaurang, you are the presenter today. Great to have you. And we have Sainivas from India, and then we have Miguel from Mexico, Abid from India, Carl from Delaware, Tusha from India. Hey Tusha. We have Kirsten from Berlin, Malcolm from Gibraltar, and we have, oh, that's hard to read, oh, Leroux from Morocco. First time we have someone from Morocco. Fantastic. Somebody from Greece, island of Crete. Nice. Ranjan Dailata. Hey Ranjan, I also know you. Nice to see you here. We have Mahesh. Hey Mahesh, how are you? Mahesh from Madras. We have also Neha from India. So it's pretty cool. Got a lot of people. Let me just admit a few more people in here. 4 more in the waiting room. Nice. We have Mia from the Philippines. Nice. Hey Mia, how are you today? And yeah, more people from India, Una and Nix. Nice, nice. We just admit more people to the room. We have somebody from Turkey. Nice. Welcome, Arzu. And yeah, so thanks everyone for being here. Today we be having the last workshop as part of the NFT Vision Hack workshop introduction series, where basically our sponsors present themselves and introduce their technologies as well as their track for you to understand what is expected of you as part of your deliverables for NFT Vision Hack. And today we're going to cover the Scalable Art Project track that is sponsored by Indorse, which is also the company I work for. So, very happy to see that there are already like 64 people in the waiting room, and I have to admit more and more as we speak, which is fantastic. And yeah, so I have Gaurang Torvekar, who's the CEO of Indorse, here with me today. Hey, Gaurang, how are you? Can you unmute yourself? You're
yes.
Skipping
hey.
the slides. Hey. And yeah, so Gaurang will be, hosting the workshop here today. I will skip in here and there, and we'll try to answer all your questions in between as they come up. So to really make sure to, kind of get you ready and get you started to build an awesome scalable art project, and really looking forward to what you guys are coming up with. So without further ado, I will hand it over to you, Gaurang.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Hi, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, as Richard said. And there's one guy from Moon as well. I hope you saw Richard Branson last week. Great. So I'm Gaurang. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Indorse. And I've been in the blockchain space for a while now. So I started coding smart contracts back in 2016, 2017, when Ethereum was just coming out. And I've been running Ethereum meetups in Singapore, and also talked at a few meetups in London here. So yeah, that's me. That's my background. Being in coding, haven't done much coding in the last 1.5 years, but yeah, I'm still I still keep brushing up my Solidity knowledge. Yeah, cool. So that's me. So today we're going to talk about the Indorse track. Yeah, and we just made a few small changes to the track. Just published them on the website today. So let me take you through those changes and what this track is about. Yeah. So this whole presentation. Yeah. So this whole presentation, I want to keep it quite interactive. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and I can answer them as they come along, yeah, without breaking the flow. So yeah, this is about the Indorse track. So yeah, in the Indorse track, we are expecting a scalable NFT art project. And by scalable, what we mean is something that is created using generative art, something that is created using some programmatic concepts, something, some algorithm, some sort of logic behind it, right? So if you create, I don't know, 10 or 20 or even 100 images with your hand, that's not really generative, that's not really scalable. So that's just one example. So by scalable, we mean something that can be scaled to 10,000 pieces or even 100,000 pieces or even 1 million pieces. That's the main thing we are looking at. So in the track, what you need to do is you need to deliver an NFT art collection, and this should be done through generative art. Right? So you have to submit either your art collection or a detailed project about your scalable NFT collection. Right? Along with this, you need to submit a slide deck. We have uploaded a sample deck on the website. You can download that, and you have to follow that structure. So this deck has a nice structure. So it asks you to introduce yourself, your team, what your problem is, what's your solution, why it is unique, all these things. So you need to follow that deck and that structure, because that's going to make it easy for our judges to judge your submissions. Yeah? And you can also add a 2-minute video, which is optional, obviously. But adding a video is always a good idea, because if you add a video, it can help the judges to understand your concept quickly and in a better way. Because in the slide deck, you can only add so many slides, right? You can add like 10 or 20 slides, but beyond that, if you have a video, it makes your submission even more understandable, and people can actually relate to your concept. And the last one is, again, it is optional but highly recommended. Will give you some really good bonus points. Just like the other tracks, the way you have to use the technology in your submissions. Similarly, you should use the IND tokens, Indorse IND tokens, and or the Indorse validator community. So I'll be talking about what is Indorse and what we do in a while now. But if you include these two things, you'll get some bonus points, and your submission will have a better chance of winning this track. In terms of prizes, we have slightly altered that. So now the first prize is about $5,000, second is 3,000, and third is 2,000. Again, we had a few questions about IP rights, intellectual property rights. So just so you know, just to make it clear, if you win any of these 3 prizes, the IP will be with you completely. You will own the whole IP. Indorse doesn't want anything to do with that IP at all. But we also have another section called grants, and these are grants worth $8,000. And with these grants, we actually want to work with your project to be able to launch your project. So we can help you with from the technical side. We can help you from the marketing side. We have an amazing team of developers and digital marketing specialists. So we can help you, we can guide you, we can mentor you. And in that case, depending on our involvement, depending on the partnership between with the project team and Indorse, in that case, we'll decide on the IP. We can negotiate with you. And again, you as a team, you're completely free to reject our offers and not work with us. It's completely up to you. But in the first 3 prizes, the IP remains completely with the teams. That's one point we wanted to stress here today. Yes, teams can be 1 person large, definitely. One single people can actually participate in this, not a problem. But ideally, we advise or we ask people to team up with developers if you can. It's okay if you're alone, not a problem. But ideally, if you partner with a developer or someone who knows from a technical perspective, your art collection or your submission can have a better chance of winning, obviously. Yeah? Again, as a single person, if you're a developer and an artist, like one of the participants here in this chat today, you can submit that, no problem at all. Yeah? Cool. So that's about the Indorse track. Any questions until this point? Otherwise, I can go ahead.
I think there's one, Goran, says, hey, from Devansh says, hey, I just wanted to hear what we have to submit. I think it's probably what is explained on the slide here, right? Yes. And we also have it on the website. If you go to challenges and click on the Indorse track, you basically see the same things here, right? So these are the 4 things. You see that a few things are optional, but kind of would give you bonus points. And then there are a few things that are expected, right? So if you have any questions, just ping me or the others on Slack, and we, kind of guide you with that.
Yeah. Coming to your question, Aditya, Yes, designers don't need to make an algorithm, but if you have an algorithm, you will stand a better chance of winning. You can submit a collection, some really cool artwork, but yeah, if it is generative, if it is scalable, that will have a better chance of winning. That's what we want to stress here today. I'll be explaining what is generative art. I'll be explaining what do you mean by algorithms? How do you include those algorithms in your art and all that? Yeah. So let me move on. So let me quickly go through what is Indorse. So Indorse, we are a coding assessment platform. So we conduct coding tests, and we have Ethereum blockchain as our backend technology, as one of the core technologies. So coding tests can be conducted for multiple purposes, right? So you conduct coding tests when you're hiring software developers, or you conduct coding tests when you're training anyone on some new software, or you conduct coding tests for hackathons like this, right? So last year we conducted a hackathon called Post-COVID Hack, and we had about more than 1,000 people participating in this hackathon. So all the submissions, all the code for that hackathon went through our coding tests. So we did all the assessments in the background, and then we gave the shortlisted submissions to the sponsors, which was RSK at the time, IV Labs. Yeah. So yeah, that's Indorse. We conduct coding tests. That's the short answer of it. But the way we conduct the coding tests, or the way in which we review your code or we assess your code, is quite unique for Indorse, right? So on Indorse, what we have is we have a community, or we have a panel of expert software developers, right? So these developers, they look at your code. So let's take an example, right? Let's say there's a junior developer who wants his code assessed, or there's a junior developer who wants to know how good he or she is in coding. So the junior developer, they will come and submit the code on our website. This code base, it goes to the panel of experts on the platform. And now these experts, they'll start looking at your code and they will vote on your code. They will say, okay, is your code good? Is your code bad? Or how can you improve your code, based on your coding skills? And you, as a junior developer, you will get a report which tells you how good or bad your code is. So that is the basic building block of Indorse, which is the coding assessments, right? We also have IND token, which is used for staking. So if you need to, if you want to be an expert developer, if you want to be on this panel of expert developers, you need to stake IND tokens to participate as an expert. We also have some upcoming NFT projects, really cool NFT projects, for which the IND tokens will be used. So yeah, that's Indorse. Coding assessments. We have a panel of expert developers, and we have IND tokens, which are used in this whole ecosystem. Bianca, I don't know what's your problem. Yeah, Indorse products. Yeah, so we have 3 main products. One is the coding tests for hiring. Second is we partner with university in Singapore, and when they conduct corporate training programs called upskilling, that's when they use our coding tests, right? So the first one is hiring, second is upskilling, which is training, and the third one is online hackathons like this one, or the previous hackathons that we have done. So as Indorse, we have multiple B2B clients. So we are mainly a B2B company, enterprise companies, and we work with enterprise clients. So we have conducted hackathons in the past with companies like Dell, Rolls-Royce, and RSK last year, IV Labs. We also conduct a program called Data School, which is about training data scientists. And one of the biggest clients for that is OCBC Bank in Singapore, which is one of the largest banks in Singapore. We also conduct a program called Go School, which is about training Golang developers. And the clients for this are Food Panda and Salora. Anyway, so that's about Indorse. I'll quickly show you how the coding assessment report looks like. So suppose there's a developer called Mark. He submits his GitHub profile or his GitHub code repo. It goes to 6 experts for assessments. Now, in this case, suppose 6 experts are saying, okay, thumbs up, like I like this code, or we like this code, or this code is good, right? And they also give you score on various categories. So they give you scores on code quality, test coverage, extensibility, all these things. And they also give you some really good comments on how you can improve your code. So as you can see here, okay, suggestions for improvement. API documentation can be improved. So that's how they're saying that Mark can improve his code base. Yeah. Anyway, that's about Indorse. Any questions until this point? Yes, next. I'll be coming to that in my next couple of slides. Yeah, I'll be addressing that quite soon. Yeah, so this was about Indorse, and I'm explaining this because we expect people to actually include the IND token and the Indorse validator ecosystem in your projects, if possible. Yeah. Great. So let me come to the topic for this track, which is generative art or scalable art. So what is generative art? So this is one of the definitions that I found online. So generative art refers to the art that has been created by the use of an autonomous system, right? So if you break this definition down, what generative art somehow uses an autonomous system. And this autonomous system could be an algorithm, or could be a code, or could be some sort of logic. So you don't exactly need to write code for this submission, but you need to have some logic behind your creations, some logic behind your artwork, which makes it scalable. So for example, you can have some layers in your artwork, or you can have some traits in your artwork, which could be replicated quite easily. And the permutations and combinations of those traits, that's what makes it scalable. That's the basic definition of generative art. Now let's take an example, as I said earlier. Consider a series of art pieces done by an algorithm, which can produce 10,000 or 20,000 or even 1 million unique samples or unique objects, versus 10 artists, sitting in a room and doing 1,000 images each. 100 images each. In that case, these 10 artists will come up with 1,000 images. But is that scalable? Is that generative? And the short answer to that is no. Because one artist can come up with 100 images in, I don't know, 3 months or 4 months, but there's a limit to how many images you can create. On the other hand, if you use an algorithm, if you use an autonomous system, if you use like a rule-based system, in that case, you can have a much larger sample size of these art images. Yeah. Also, for generative art, in most of the cases, the creator is not a human. So it's like actually, so creator is not a human. It's like essentially what you do is you write some rules, you write some logic, an algorithm or some code. You provide inputs to that code, and once you provide those inputs, the algorithm by itself will be generating all these images. Yeah. Cool. So that is the definition of generative art. Let me tell you a few examples, right? So even within the space of generative art, or what you call procedural art, there are multiple niches. There are multiple projects which have their own niche. Yes, I'll be sharing the PPT. Yeah. So let's take an example of CryptoKitties and CryptoPunks. So these were some of the earliest projects in the NFT space, which in a way use generative art. They might not exactly fit in that definition, but it was kind of generative art in that each of these art pieces or each of these kitties or punks were unique in nature. Each of these punks or kitties had certain traits which made them valuable, right? So for example, the eyes of a cat, or the color of the cat, all these things made them quite unique and quite valuable. So some of these traits were quite unique. So for example, finding a cat with, I don't know, green eyes was quite unique, and hence that cat was quite rare. And hence that cat had a lot of value. And that's what is determined using the algorithm or using the logic that you put behind your artwork. So essentially, you can actually create 10,000 cats, right? But cats having green eyes will only be 10. So you will have only 10 cats who have green eyes out of those 10,000 cats. That makes those green-eyed cats really rare. And again, that is up to your algorithm. That is up to your logic. So you can decide, how many cats you want with green eyes. You can write algorithm which says, okay, we want 9,000 cats with green eyes. That way the cats won't be unique and they won't have as much value. But yeah, you get the idea, right? So those were really early projects, and nowadays we have a lot of projects who are working on something called PFP, which is your profile pictures or avatars, as you call it, right? So hash masks, Ava stars are some really good examples of these kind of projects. They have done it in the right manner. These generative artworks, these procedural artworks. Then you have something like crypto voxels or mebits, which are essentially your metaverse avatars. So these are the avatars which you can take through the metaverse, and you can actually use it anywhere inside, in several other applications, in several other games or several other programs, which is quite cool. And then you have actual artwork, actual art, which is you write some code which generates some real abstract art, which in itself is again really valuable. Right? So I'll be showing you a couple of examples. And as you know, there are several dog avatars coming up, several cat avatars coming up. You have cool cats, you have gutter cats, you have multiple types of cats out in the NFT space right now. You have some aliens, you have some rats as well. So just you name it and you have avatar for that. I just saw another project which launched yesterday, which had avatars for ninjas. Yeah, quite cool. Yeah, I like it. Anyway, so at this point, let me show you a couple of examples. So before we go to the examples, yeah, let's have some questions before we go to the examples.
Yeah, you just want me to give you a few questions? Or how you want to do that?
Yeah, so if you have any questions, start typing. I will start addressing a couple of questions from
yeah. Let me go through a few questions that were asked. I just have a list over you. I can also share my screen if you want, or I can just
no, I can, yeah, you can just,
yeah, let me just give them to you. Okay, so first question, I think this one is not answered yet, is from Aditya Mandle. Yeah, designers know how to make algorithm that makes art right. I think it's not really like a questions.
yeah.
No.
So yeah, as I answered, you having an algorithm will give you much better points, but yeah, you can submit an artwork which does not have algorithm if you cannot write the algorithm. Yeah.
Nice. Then we have the next question from Nix. Please help me in understanding scalable algorithm, how to incorporate that in art design for graphic designers. I think that's something we cover later on in the workshop, right?
We have 2 more slides on that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Then we have the next question from Rishabh Singh. Please tell me how to submit the code. And I think that one, you know, just get in touch with us on Slack. We have a submission page ready. We will share that submission page with you if you get in touch. And on that submission page, you can submit everything, the code, the art project, your deck, the video, etc. Right? And usually what you do if you want to submit the code, you just share your GitHub or Bitbucket repository, public Gitbucket or GitHub repository with us that is then publicly accessible by the validators Goran mentioned earlier on, that will then take a look at your code. I hope that was helpful, Rishabh. Then the next question we have here is from Samrudi. So IND tokens are kind of a currency, right? And you want to answer that, Goran, or you want me to take it?
IND tokens are a sort of a utility token. It's one of those tokens that were launched in 2017, and they are used in our ecosystem right now.
Okay.
So the next question from Deependu. Yes, we will not be assisting actively, but yeah, you can always post in the looking for team channel, and our team can put you in touch with anyone if they know.
Yes, exactly. So it's important that you reach out and find your own team members, because we want you to keep active, and we want proactive people to come together who are really coming back. And right, if we form teams together, oftentimes what we have seen in the past is that people just keep forgetting about it, and then the team members are demotivated because the team members don't show up anymore. That's why it's very important for us that you find your own team members. You can go to Slack, you can go to our Discord, and you can reach out to other people over there that are also participating in the hackathon. There's a lot of people that already share their project ideas, and there are people that share their skills. If you have a project idea, you can look for people that have certain skills. And if you have just skills and look for someone who has already a project idea, you can also do that in the looking for team channel. So yeah, good luck. I hope that is helpful and answers your question. Next question comes from Vedant. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Is so basically art applied to algorithm, which could be scalable. And I think, yeah, it's more or less like that, right, Goran?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then say cool new things to explore. I agree with that. Very good assessment. And so art could be anything, right? Eventually forming a relatable collection. Exactly. I think this brings it to the point, right? Like it's different kind of, what Goran presents here. And, you can go to these projects. We will also post them on Slack and Discord. So, if you're not familiar with any of these concepts, please go there, please have a look. Analyze what have they done in terms of how they have produced it, which tools have they used, how have they worked together with artists, etc. And yeah, I think that will be really helpful and help you understand what is a high quality production with NFTs that are sold at 1 Ether to 100 Ethers a piece nowadays, right? What have they done right? What can you take over from them? Yeah, then we have a next question again. Second question from Devansh. So like these avatars, are they also scalable?
Yes, again, as I said, some avatars are scalable, some of them are not. And also addressing this question and some other questions after this. So as an artist, yes, so you can partner up with a developer, but as we said earlier, one of the participants has actually submitted a collection of 100 unique art pieces, and that's also valid. But as we said, we want to implore you, or we want to show you some really cool new things in the NFT space right now. And let me actually show you a few examples which will help you understand what's going on in the space. So see, as an artist, you can actually start creating these cool new generative art pieces, and you can actually start selling them on a few websites like OpenSea or Rarible, who is one of our partners and sponsors, or any other marketplaces out there. So as an artist, you have a lot more options nowadays, and that's what we want to try and show you through this hackathon, through this track. Yeah? So let me go to the first example project, which is hash masks. So hash masks, as you can see here, let me quickly go to the home page. Yeah, so hash mask was a collection of 16,000 unique digital portraits, right? And each of these, as they're saying, each of these portraits is unique. Now, what was very cool about this project hash masks was that as a user, as a collector, if I buy this hash mask, I could actually participate in this art. And how could I participate? I could participate by actually naming this artwork, right? So for example, when Da Vinci made his world famous painting, he called it Mona Lisa. But what if I could actually buy that painting and change the name? What if I could call it my name? What if I could call it Gaurang Lisa? That would be super cool, right? And maybe it won't have as much value then, but I would love to do that. So similarly, as a hash masks collector, you can actually buy a hash mask and you can change the name. And that's where the NCT token actually comes in. So they have a token using which you can actually change the name. So if you want to change the name once, you have to use, I think, 1800 tokens. I don't remember the exact number. Yeah, and if you have to change the, every time you change the name, you have to spend 1800 tokens, these NCT tokens. Yeah, that's again one way of including some ERC20 tokens in your project. If you look at the gallery for hash masks, you will see that each of these images is quite unique, and that's what we mean by generative art. Now, if you look at this closely, there are certain traits with every image. Right? So if you look at it, every image has a mask, every image has a background, every image has something that they are holding or not holding in their hand. If you look at this image, this has something in its hand. the other images don't have that in their hand, right? So if you look at all these images, you will see that, okay, this image is quite rare because it has something in its hand, and that makes it really valuable, right?
Mm.
So this image has some, nice mask on it and some newspaper kind of thing in the background. This image has some arithmetic symbols in the background.
Mm.
Yeah. So each of these images is quite unique, and as you go on loading the screen lower and lower, you'll see that it loads all the images automatically, and none of these images is similar to any other image. So each image is quite unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
And I think what is also interesting is that you find like that if you, for example, go to the filter in Algorand, and then you can maybe like filter for the mask, right? And then maybe look for I don't know, just look for one type of mask, so that people get an idea, right?
Look at a unique mask. Yeah.
Yes, unique mask, right? So okay,
Only
so
10
you see these are maybe not unique mask. Maybe go to something else like I don't know, basic or Hawaiian or whatever, right? And you see, if the guys, everyone sees that there's like 1,573 pieces that have this Hawaiian style mask, right? And you see the mask is repetitive. The colors may be different, right? There's a different kind of Hawaiian mask, but it's all Hawaiian mask, right? And the same you have for the background. You have, like, for example, on the top left, you see this red, kind of patterned background, and you have many of those, right? I don't know how many, right? But yeah, that's what Goran is showing you, right? This newspaper kind of background. So there's like a certain number of these that have this newspaper patterned background. And the fewer you have with that, right, the rarer, the more unique that hash mask is, right? For example, there's only 5 hash masks in 16,380 hash masks that have this newspaper background. So they have become suddenly super rare, right?
Right. So that's a combination of newspaper background and a Hawaiian mask. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. So, but I think everyone gets the idea, right? And I think and then you see, obviously there are some that are not so rare, and then there are some that are super rare. And obviously, like later on, right, which is the cool thing about NFT art collections. Once like the CryptoPunks, right? There's like some CryptoPunks that are worth like $7 million today, because they are super rare, while the normal CryptoPunk trades at, I don't know, like 40,000 US dollar. So, like you see, there's some that are super rare, and they become obviously more speculative, more valuable to your art collector.
Yeah. So moving on to the next project, let's look at Ava Stars. So now Ava Stars is another really interesting project, in that what they do is they store all the traits as different layers, right? So if you look at this one image is formed by combining 7 layers, 7 distinct layers, and each of these distinct layers is again like a background has one layer, then you have a layer of your face, you have a layer of your hair, you have a layer of your, I don't know, your eye colors or your caps, or something like that. And each layer has certain number of variations, right? So there might be 7 types of backgrounds, and I don't know, 10 types of skin colors, and then 6 type of hair. So when you combine all these things, you get hundreds and thousands of types of different images forming together, right? Now you just keep multiplying all these things, and you get those many permutations and combinations, right? So that's the first aspect of Ava Stars. And as you can see, the feed, or the it has like an infinite scroll, and it keeps on refreshing automatically, right? So essentially it keeps on generating new and new images. Out of these, I can go and buy the avatar that I like, right? So suppose I like and I relate to this avatar, let's say this guy. I can go and I can add it to the queue. It's just like adding your Amazon stuff to your basket, Amazon basket. You add to the queue, and then I can pay some ether for this, and buy this directly, which is quite cool. Another really cool thing about Ava Stars is they have something called as series of images or series of avatars, right? So right now they're just, I think, finishing series 1. And they said that, okay, in series 1, we'll have only 10,000 avatars, right? And if they manage to sell all the 10,000 avatars, that's well and good, or how much ever they can sell in the first series, that much they will have in the series 1. Now what they're going to do is, I think next month, they're going to start something called a series 2. And in this series, the images will look quite similar to this, but they will have different set of traits. So essentially, they will have different set of layers. They'll have different eye colors. They'll have different skin colors. And all the traits from series 1 will no longer be available after that. And hence, what's going to happen is that series 1 is going to become more rare. And hence, it should have more value, apparently. Again, none of this is financial advice. I'm not shilling any project here. Just keep that in mind. But theoretically, that's what they're saying could happen. Yeah, which is again quite cool. So just to recap, Ava stars has 7 layers, distinct layers, which when combined form unique images, and they have series of art pieces, series of avatars. Yeah, in each series, suppose series 1 they have 10,000, series 2 they have 8,000, series 3 they have 6,000, so on. So that's Ava stars for you. Yeah, so these are avatar images, or these are images for avatar generative art. Now let's go to some actual abstract art. So art blocks is one such example, which is again quite cool. So art blocks, what it does is it has, so the developers, they have written some scripts, some JavaScript actual scripts, and these scripts are actually stored in your blockchain, in your smart contracts. And when you load the script on your browser, that at that time it generates this art on the fly. I don't know exactly what script they are using. I haven't gone into those details, but I think this concept really is quite cool, right? So you're generating abstract art based on some script, some code. Yeah, it's quite cool. So you can create thousands of types of different art pieces, different artworks. Look at this. This is quite beautiful. And again, each of these is an NFT token. So each of these you can actually sell it on OpenSea, or you can buy it on OpenSea and then you can start selling it again. So yeah, that's art blocks for you. You have various different types of really beautiful art pieces being generated by code. Again, as an artist, don't be scared if you don't know coding. It is okay. You can actually create these kind of layers, just like Ava stars. You can actually come up with those layers, or you can come up with some really cool ideas in which how you can combine those layers, how you can actually combine these to form some really cool generative arts. And again, you should submit it to our hackathon, but if not, you can actually launch this on OpenSea or some other marketplace directly on your own as well. It's quite cool. Yeah?
Like Rarible.
Like Rarible, yeah, definitely. And last one is Crypto Battle Arena. This is another avatar project. They have avatars like ninjas, which is quite cool as well. I love it. Yeah, they have a Minter Ninja thing going on. Yeah, so those were the examples. So let me quickly go on with my presentation. Do you want to take a couple of questions, Richard?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? I think I will just pick up where we stopped earlier in terms of answering the earlier questions, right? So I think this one is the first one we haven't answered from Vedant. Is there any confined number of collection to follow up in? Defined number of collection to follow up.
I don't think so. You can do any number of images here.
Yeah, I think
it has to be scalable. So you cannot submit a project with 10 hand-drawn images. That just won't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually write an algorithm which generates 10 images. That is okay. But yeah, if you just draw 10 images by your hand, that might not work.
Yeah. Then we have the next question from Devansh. Also, will we cover how to create the algorithm? Yes, we will do that. And like if it's still not clear after the workshop or after the webinar today, I will try to maybe get something together for you.
No, sorry, Richard. We won't be covering the algorithm part. So I'm showing a few examples. You can go into their algorithms and see that. I won't be telling how to write the algorithm.
Yeah, and we might be looking into if we could have like another session, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, how to do that algorithm. I would highly implore you to just, go through our Slack, go through our Discord, a lot of good resources. have already been shared there, and just ping us there in case you need any resources, any libraries, anywhere to start, how to, get going about this, right? If you have some software development background and you just want to start with this, right? I think Gorang and the team, we can, just recommend you some places to start looking. Next question from Sri, SREE. Can I submit a unique machine design using AutoCAD Medium or by any special engineering design project in Indorse? I think that should be fine, right? Gorang?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Absolutely, Sri, you can do that.
Art is subjective. Anything can be art.
Exactly. Just ping us on Slack and maybe explain it in greater detail, so we can maybe guide you even a little bit on that one.
On that point, I could give you guys another example. You could take Richard's photo, you can change his color of hair, his eye color, and you can submit that as an NFT.
It's intellectual property, right? So you want to be careful with that.
Yeah, you give him some royalties though. You give him 10% of the royalties. He'll be happy with that.
Okay, coming to the next question from Sakshi. What is the role of an artist? Is it more about a developer? Would you please suggest any software that individual artists can use to create generative art? Very good question, Gorang. Any software that you can recommend?
Yes, we have had one participant who created some really good artwork by using Adobe Illustrator. Yeah, you can use any software. This other person wants to use AutoCAD, so anything is okay.
Exactly. So AutoCAD, Adobe Illustrator, and I'm sure if you ask around on Slack in the group, a lot of people can suggest you more great tools, what they are using and why they are using it. So probably just ask there where it's used and you get the best answers. Coming to Mahesh, if I create a set of 3D character or a pixel artwork and use some algorithm to make multiple unique sets, kit bash them, does it make it scalable? Gorang?
Yes and no. Yes, if you use an algorithm, it theoretically should make them scalable, but it has to come together really well, right? So let's take an example. Suppose we look at this hash mask, right? So you create an algorithm which says, okay, I'm going to put a mask layer on top of a face, but if it doesn't look good or if it doesn't go well together, or suppose you say that, okay, I want to put some image in this guy's hand, but if that image does not, superimpose with the hand properly, if there's like some gap in between the image and the hand, that won't look good, and that won't be called scalable really, because no one would want to use that image as their avatar, for example, right? So yeah, that's just one example. It has to come together properly. Just writing an algorithm, just writing some logic is not the use case here. Yeah?
Exactly. It has to come together nicely, right? It has to look and feel right at the end of the day, and it has to be something people would ideally like to buy, right? So what we're trying to do here is we give you all the tools, try to help you to kind of create your own art series and possibly even sell that, right? If you want, or kind of market that. And yeah, so just to think of that from a buyer or collectors or speculators point of view. Want to do 2 more questions and then move on?
Maybe we can go to the next slides, finish the slides, and then come back.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead.
We're running out of time now. So yeah, again, this slide is mainly for those of you who are from a development background or who want to partner up with a developer. Yeah. So how do you launch a generative art project, right? So the first thing you need to do, as we said earlier, is come up with those algorithmic traits. So come up with some logic, some rule-based, ideas based on which you can generate these scalable images. You can generate 10,000, 100,000, 1 million images. So essentially, you write those algorithms. You create those base layers, right? So you create. So for example, for the hair, right? What you do is you create 7 combinations of hair, right? You create a set of hair with black color and curly hair. You can have hair with blonde hair, red hair, or these different types of hair. And again, you can use your imagination. You can do anything with that. You can have zombie hair as well if you want. That's the first step. You create those images. You create those unique art pieces. Second thing is, you need to partner up with a developer who knows Solidity, and you need to write an NFT smart contract. Again, this is not really difficult. There are some really standard libraries out there from Open Zeppelin. You should be using these libraries to write your own smart contract, or you can go on these marketplaces. So we have a Rarible protocol which can help you to mint new collections, which can help you to create a marketplace as well. So you can use their protocol, or you can use the Open Zeppelin libraries which are available in the market. Yeah, this will help you to mint your tokens, right? So essentially, what you want to do is each of those unique art pieces, you want to combine that, or you want that to be represented by an NFT token, right? So each of these artworks, each of these art pieces becomes an NFT token. Right? And then the third step, which is slightly tricky, is you need to create a web application or a Dapp, which is a decentralized application, which combines your generative art and the smart contract tokens. So as we showed you with the hash marks and Ava stars example, you need to have some sort of a gallery, some sort of a website where it creates those images on the fly using your algorithm that you wrote in step 1, right? So what you do is you take your algorithm, you write that in a code. You can use any language, JavaScript, Java, whatever, Python, PHP, and you create a Dapp with that, and then you connect this Dapp with the blockchain. So that what happens is all the images that are being generated on your website can be sold as NFT tokens, and then you connect it with Rarible protocol, you connect it with anything else, and you store those images on IPFS, and you mint the tokens, you do all those things. Yeah? So these are the 3 steps on a very high level. I won't be going into the details on how you create that algorithm or how you combine that with your smart contract tokens. For that, you need to partner up with the developer. Then coming to another question, FAQ that we had, can we submit our project in multiple tracks? And yes, you can, and we give an example here. So what you could do is you can create your artwork for the Indorse track, right? That we can participate in the Indorse track. You store this artwork, all these images on IPFS. That way you qualify for the IPFS track and the IPFS prize as well. You can actually create your primary sales event or the auction using Circle's APIs for the payment integrations. So with Circle, you can have payment integrations for fiat payments and crypto payments as well. That could be the third step. And then you can use the Rarible protocol to include the marketplace aspects, which is essentially how to sell it, how to buy it, how to list it for selling, how to create those auctions for selling, and all these things, right? So that way you can actually satisfy the requirements for all the 4 tracks, and you can actually launch your own collection, which is really exciting, right? And we think that as an artist, the NFT space gives you some really unique opportunities, because you can now start. So essentially, it removes the divide between your art and your customers, right? So now with this, the whole world can be your customer, right? Anyone can actually buy your art using these marketplaces, which is really cool, I think. Yeah, so that's that. At the end of the day, again, for the Indorse track specifically, we would urge you to use the IMG token, which is an existing ERC20 token, and the Indorse expert developers community. So one example could be like to create something like art blocks, you can actually leverage our expert community, and you can say, hey guys, we are doing this script for you. Can you come and start creating artwork on our project, on our NFT collection? Yeah, so, yeah, could do something like that. Yeah, that's it for now. Those were the slides. Let's look at some questions. Richard.
Yeah, let's do it. Next question from Vici Taylor. How may we use Indorse to improve our team workflow? And Vici, I'm not sure if I understand you correctly, but I think for that one, please ping me on Slack in our common private group and ask your question there, maybe a little bit more elaborative. Help us to help you with what you need. Thanks. Shamphavi, if I pronounce it correctly, if we choose to submit just the concept and not the actual art, are we required to produce additional materials to support our work? What might that include? Very good question, Goran. I think, yes, you can submit the concept, right? Maybe it would be good to submit kind of some prototypes, a number of art pieces, right? You don't need to submit 10,000 art pieces, but maybe if you submit like, I don't know, 20 or 30, that would be pretty good already.
And what you could do is you could also submit a video saying, explaining why you think your artwork is unique and what is your concept behind that artwork. Right?
Exactly. And maybe try to include a story, right? What this is all about. I always find like having a story around it makes it special, kind of gives it a context, right? Gives something for the collector and speculator to relate to. And you can cover on all of these things in the slide deck that you will submit together with your concept. And that slide deck will basically follow, the sample slide deck that you can find on our website. Hope that answers your questions. If not, please ping me and the team on Slack, and we will help you to work that out in greater detail. And you can share with us your deliverables there, and we take a look over it and let you know if you need to improve at certain points or certain parts of your deliverables. So hope that was helpful, Shambhavi. Coming to Sumit, do I need to know programming to design a scalable art?
Not really,
right?
So again, let me give you a simple example. Again, Richard, sorry to pick on you, but I think you're a good example here. So let's just look at Richard, everyone now, right? So you're looking at Richard. Richard has this great background in the where you see some nice lake in the background and all those things. But as you know, that's a Zoom background, right? Now, what you could do is you could write some simple rules that, okay, you could say that, okay, at 1 p.m. Richard will have this background. At 2 p.m. Richard will have another background which has some really nice another lake in his background. At 3 p.m. Richard would have something else. At 8 p.m. Richard will have a background with some dark room behind him with just one lamp, all those things. And what happens is with each of these backgrounds, you're creating a new art image. You're creating a new NFT for Richard. And now Richard can start selling those NFTs on Rarible and actually start making some money out of that. So that's the idea. So you don't need to know coding. You don't, you don't need to know any computer programming. But what is important is you have a very good idea on what makes your art pieces unique. Makes sense?
Unique and scalable. And obviously, Sumit, what you can do is you can always team up with a developer, right? And there's a lot of guys on the Looking for Team channel on Slack that you can get in touch with, right? So proactively write them, message them, ask them if they want to join your project. If you're like a graphic designer, if you're an artist and you currently have no developer to work with, there's a lot of developers that are still looking for teams. So just ping them there and kind of write them. And if you still cannot find anyone after a week or 2 weeks, right, then maybe ping us, and maybe once we can make a mailer and kind of introduce a few artists to our developers, by sending a big mail to all of the participants and say, here, these artists are still looking for a team. Would you like to team up with them? So yeah, just in that case, just ping us, and we try to do that extra step for you guys. Coming next, Kerstin. Hi, Kerstin. Could it be also physical generative art, like 3D sculptures? Good question. Goran.
Not physical art, but you can actually submit some digital 3D art, which is great, yeah, which is quite unique as well. Yeah, definitely. We can't submit physical art as NFTs.
Yeah. I think physical art will also become hard to sell. I mean, yeah, if you have that concept ready already, Kerstin, and like to share that with us, please ping us on Slack, and happy to go over that, and let's see what are your thoughts, what is it you're planning to deliver, you're planning to submit, and then we see if that could work. Coming to Indiana Jones. Welcome back. I think you were there yesterday as well. This kind of projects accept a 3D render image?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it does. Short answer. Coming back to Vijay Taylor, do we have to mint all art generated by the software?
Up to you.
Up to you, Vijay. Yes. So up to you. Next question comes from Hiya. If user is generated art, but actual art is created using program, is it scalable, like NFT from WaveSilk?
This reminds me of the movie Inception. I don't know how both those things can happen. But yeah, if you can elaborate on that question, we can answer that better. Or you can again reach out to us on Slack.
Yes, but I think it's correct, right? So if you generate if you create the art using a program, right, and then kind of put that into like a generative art project with multiple pieces, it is your intellectual property, and yes, absolutely, this would be a perfectly fine submission. Just ping us on Slack or Discord, and we kind of create this private group. We look over, we give you feedback if there's anything we would recommend you to improve. Yeah, one of the last questions. I'm not sure if there have been some more in the meantime. Coming to Srija Roy. Suppose I'm making avatars. When how many distinct avatars can be submitted as a collection? And Gaurang, I think the answer is really as many as you wish, right?
As many as you want, yeah. You can submit hundreds of millions. But what we are looking more at is your idea behind those things, right? So if you write a good idea, if you write some good logic behind it, you can actually scale it to, as I said, millions of avatars like that. Yeah.
Yes, but you probably want to keep it like I think why CryptoPunks, Hashmask, etc. kept their series to around 10,000 to 15,000. Is if you launch too many, right? Obviously, it becomes too diluted. You launch too many art pieces into the wild, and it's not rare anymore, right? And people don't want to have them anymore. It becomes hard to filter them, right? So also consider all these aspects when creating, your concept and working on your generative art piece. This was this. Yeah, so then we have Pritesh Kumar. Web3 Dapp is needed in hackathon scope. IPFS is what? IPFS is the interplanetary file storage. Somebody put it in the chat. I didn't see that, sorry. And it's basically allows you to kind of host your NFT art piece and the image that comes with it on a decentralized stored network, which is pretty cool. And you don't rely on a server anymore, right? Because if that server goes down, your NFT art piece would not be visible any longer to people out there, right? And what IPFS will allow you to do is to kind of remain your image out in the open forever, really. And that's why we would highly recommend you to do that. And there's also a special price for this track, right, from IPFS. Actually, for the free tracks, for the Rebel track, for the Circle tracks, and the Indorse track, we have special prices from IPFS of $500 for everybody who is using IPFS, right? Not for everyone who's using it, but for the best concept for each track that uses IPFS, besides obviously the own IPFS track, which is about gaming and NFTs. Hope that answers your question. If not, just ping us. Coming to the next question. Where is this here? Okay, so Yogesh said, but earlier in opening ceremony, Gaurang told that one project can't be shown in multiple tracks. So is it changed now? Yes, Yogesh, that was changed. Very good picked up. Initially, we thought about doing this, and then we have decided it would actually be good because we looked at our track, we looked at the Indorse track, and we thought, right, actually for hackathon and to kind of give you all you need, the tools, and kind of help you to understand how you could really make this this not just a digital art collection, but take this to the next level and take this to production, take this sell this, market this yourself. You could actually do it across our tracks, and it's fantastic because what our sponsors can do for you, it's really complementary, right? So we were thinking that you do that generative art project that we obviously have covered today here, And then what you can do is you create that that primary auction. And on a primary auction is basically you create like a small website where you sell your NFT pieces to interested speculators and NFT collectors, right? You make a big buzz around that event. People come to your website and they buy it, right? And you can use Circle's APIs, right? So that your investors, your NFT buyers can actually buy them using their normal credit cards or their normal fiat currencies, right? So you can tap on a global market of interested buyers. And then what you can do afterwards, if you want, right? This is obviously completely optional. You could then create like a small marketplace that sits on top of Rarible protocol. So all your NFTs will be minted on top of Rarible protocol. And, they will be exclusively sold on your marketplace. Like, assume that your series is about aliens, right? So it's a marketplace only for your alien series, like Green Alien series, for example. And but you tap onto the Rarible website, right? That suddenly gives you access to hundreds of thousands of NFT buyers because they can actually find your green aliens on the Rarible marketplace, making it a fantastic way for you to find, kind of secondary buyers, right? And you don't have to promote your website, right? You just need to have that front end, right? And just put everything on the Rarible protocol. So in that sense, right, you could even expand your scalable art project to 2 more tracks, right? And have like an entire production. So yeah, ping us if you need more help with that.
So yeah, short answer is yes, changed.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, we are running out of time, so let's take one last question and then we can end this call, right?
I think so. Let's do that. Anyway, a few more questions only. So here I have Discordian. I have my own team, but they are out of Slack community. Can they join to my project as well? And if they would ask hourly wage, could Hackathon afford this? And can we here hire Discordian to handle for dodging my team's dumbest question during the hackathon? So Discordian, the hackathon.
Sorry, Richard, I think this is out of our scope as a hackathon. We don't do this. Yeah.
Yes, we will not pay for any of your team members. Then we have one question, maybe do it as the last question, and then we try to answer the remaining questions on Slack. From Neha, if we are a graphic artist with an idea for scalable art, can we submit it as a good concept with a few examples? And I think, Gaurang, the answer is
yes. Yeah, you can definitely do it. And yes, as I said earlier, we want to look at your idea. We want to look at why you think that is unique and what makes it so beautiful, and all those artworks that people would want to buy those artworks. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for now. It was great talking to all of you, and we are really excited to see the concepts coming in from this challenge. Yeah. Sorry, just to address that, physical NFTs or physical art is not really the place for this track, for Indorse track. If you think it can actually fit into one of the other tracks, you can contact one of our admins like Richard or Adi, and yeah, they will talk to you.
Yeah, by the way, Adi is Adwait here or on Slack, so not that you guys confused. This is his nickname, so now you know him. Even better. And please don't create any kind of artwork with my weird Zoom background.
Or you can.
And yeah, thanks for joining. I hope that was helpful. Obviously, we haven't covered much, and like if you have any questions, please don't be shy to ask them. We really want you to approach us on Slack, on Discord. We are there for you, almost 24/7 to help you answer your questions and kind of take you onto the right path. If you're not already on the right path, then we just obviously will give you a thumbs up because you're already on the right path. And yeah, just give you ideas, give you feedback. We can have calls with you to kind of, discuss your project ideas with you. Just make sure, right, that you're, going the right way. And also, kind of, if you have technical questions, we add mentors to those groups. You can ask your technical questions there, get immediate feedback from the mentors. We also, it still takes some time trying to get some legal advisors onto our Slack, and hope answer a few questions that have come up for this track with IPR rights. And yeah, so as soon as we have someone there, then we will introduce him in the group. And yes, I want to thank everyone.
Sorry, one last thing on that point, Richard. One last thing on the IP rights thing. So yeah, just as a best practice, all of you, try not to use any copyrighted images in your artwork. Please don't do that, because every artist deserves his or her royalties and commissions. They have put some real hard work behind those art pieces, so do not copy images from anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a very important point to mention here. Don't copy paste anything, right? Yes, thanks all. We have recorded the session. We will post it in a few days on Slack and on Discord if you want to review it. And yeah, as always, ping us everywhere. We are there to help and support you with all the questions you have. Thank you so much, everyone. And really looking forward to what's coming out at the end of August out of this track. And I hope to see many of you back in the big showcase event that we're going to have for this track, where we will hopefully review the 10 best submissions, and a jury will then create the winning projects that will be presented in our big final day ceremony on September 21st. So, really looking forward to that. Thank you also so much, Gaurang. It was a great workshop today. And, yeah, thanks everyone.